There are a myriad of haunted places and artifacts all over the world, some dating back hundreds of years, some with gruesome and brutal backstories, some with a sense of vengeance, and some that have a little bit of everything thrown in. The idea of hauntings evokes all kinds of emotions, images, and for some, even memories. Haunting has been extensively portrayed in film and literature, often playing on the experiences of the unlucky few. That being said, ghost stories do make for good reading and watching. But what if those stories you watch or read from the safety of your sofa or bed became all the more real? So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 of the world's most haunted places and the stories behind them. The Black Forest, Germany. Germany's Black Forest lies on the Franco-German border, with Freiburg in Germany being the nearest city to the mountainous area. It is said that the canopy of evergreen fir-trees that makes up much of the forest's greenery is so dense that light cannot penetrate it, even in the daytime. The Black Forest is a little chilling by name alone, and has been a fitting setting for many ghoulish tales. The Brothers Grimm, authors of famous folk tales Hansel and Gretel, Snow White and a Little Red Riding Hood, amongst many others, drew inspiration from the Black Forest. From pictures alone, you can see why the Black Forest was such a fantastic setting for the Brothers Grimm. It lends itself so well to stories of elves and fairies, to werewolves and magicians. There is no single haunted tale that originates from the Black Forest, rather several different alleged sightings and hauntings in the forest. These range from a headless horseman maniacally rampaging through the towering trees to the devil himself residing somewhere among the forest's sinister beauty. But there is one story set in the Black Forest that is perhaps the scariest work set in the area. It's called The Necromancer by Ludwig Flammenberg. Flammenberg's story is a compilation of vicious, supernatural tales of taking lives and disappearances in the Black Forest. The dizzying plot follows 2 men, Hermann and Helfrid, and the mysterious wizard Volkert the Necromancer. Necromancy is the act of communicating with the deceased and engaging in rituals or even raising them from the grave. Like Flammenberg's story, necromancy is based upon dark magic and superstition, which are both commonly associated with the mysterious Black Forest. Playing on the dangers of superstition, The Necromancer by Flammenberg serves as both a haunting horror story and something of a didactic warning to those who dabble in the dark arts. However, it is understandable that a setting as encapsulating as the Black Forest would create such a vivid tale, one of which most of us would most definitely not like to be a character in. There have been sightings of the other legendary and often terrible creatures that are said to reside in the forest that we mentioned earlier, and many who journey to the edge of the dark, shady expanse describe feelings of eeriness overcoming them as they venture deeper and deeper into the malevolent heart of the forest. The Black Nuns Abbey. Hidden away in the green pastures of Ireland is a small sanctuary, once meant to bring solace to those who entered its tall, Gothic walls. Built in the Middle Ages, it was one of the first nunneries ever built in Ireland. St. Catherine's Augustinian Abbey, created in 1298. The land on which it once stood tall and proud was donated to the clergy by John Fitzthomas of Canelo, who lived from 1195 to 1261 and was born at the nearby Sinead Castle. What once was an architectural feat of the Gothic Middle Ages is now nothing but an abandoned, crumbling ruin hidden away from our modern sight. The abbey rests in a tiny, isolated valley about 2 miles from the village of Shanagolden in Limerick. Once upon a time, the abbey had many wings, hallways and sections. Now the only parts that remain remotely intact are the refectory, eastern cloister, crumbling chunks of the western wing, and the room known colloquially as the Black Hag's Cell. These are the last standing obelisks of a morbid history, being slowly reclaimed by nature. Traces of what once was suggested there was a kitchen near the stream, a lovely orchard that was once prosperous and abundant with life, and a pigeon house. The beauty this nunnery once undoubtedly possessed is long destroyed. The atmosphere around the Abbey is terrifying. It is a place of darkness and sorrow which is emitted from every crevice of every stone that once made up this elusive place of worship. Ancient legends speak of the Black Hag who inhabits this place, a horribly hideous woman who practiced the dark craft of demonic witchcraft within the church. The nearby village feared her greatly, and fears her still. Those who lived nearby were terrified of her presence, for she would curse and threaten those who dared try and oppose her. Rumours of black magic and her defiant, depraved lifestyle travelled through communities, securing her place as a folklore legend. The Black Hag, however, was a supposed member of a prestigious Fitzgerald family who resided at Sinead Castle. The Abbey is a burial site, as many abbeys are. This only increases the apparent haunting factor of this cursed place. Interest in this abbey developed during the 18th and 19th centuries, with the rise in demand for the mysterious and macabre, beloved by the Victorians. Legends of this dark place survive to this day, immortalising the ruins which will soon entirely fall apart. One myth explains the origin of the Black Hag. Before the nunnery was dissolved, there was a certain cold-hearted abbess who reached out to Satan, giving herself to him and becoming one of his witches. She practiced the dark arts in the church, damning the entire abbey out of selfish desire and evil intentions, causing the Pope himself to excommunicate and dissolve the nunnery. This story, unfortunately, was most likely created as propaganda to justify the dissolution of the abbey. Some scholars suggest that what happened was that a single nun remained in the abbey and that they called her Black Hag. A secondary myth speaks out of the Earl of Desmond and his beloved Countess. The Earl had a dreadful disagreement with one of his butlers, and as they were trying to leave the nunnery, the Countess was shot in the heart by a stray arrow, bringing her down. The Earl believed his wife to be lifeless and, in a frenzy, buried her underneath the church altar, abandoning the corpse of his wife. As it turned out, the Countess had survived only to find herself buried alive, screeching wildly for help and salvation that never arrived. Her screams are still said to carry through the haunted ruins of the Abbey. The unknown terrifies us, and for centuries we have tried to explain what cannot be explained. We are not omnipresent nor omniscient. We can't understand what our minds cannot comprehend. The war between science and spirituality is one that will continue for decades to come. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the middle. The many ghost sightings at Ye Olde Man and Scythe. Most hauntings, especially repeated sightings or spooky occurrences, revolve around a location with a history of loss of life, sickness, or a vengeful owner. Ye Olde Man and Scythe in Bolton, England, has a little bit of each of these qualifications, making it a prime candidate for the paranormal. It is one of the oldest pubs in Great Britain, dating back to at least 1251, making it almost 800 years old. The location has seen its fair share of ghosts and hauntings. It was rebuilt and has changed hands throughout the centuries. However, its most famous owner was likely the family of James Stanley, 7th Earl of Derby, in the 1600s. James Stanley was complicit in the siege of Bolton, which resulted in more than 1,000 residents being slaughtered in what came to be known as the Bolton Massacre. Stanley fled the area but was captured 7 years later in the Battle of Worcester and was brought back to the still angry residents of Bolton and faced losing his life due to his crimes. He was allowed to stay in the prayer room of his family pub in the hours before his execution as he awaited his fate. He was beheaded just outside the pub in the Market Square on October 15th, 1651, and it is said that he still haunts the cellar of Ye Olde Man and Scythe to this day. The chair that he supposedly sat in as he awaited his final moments is still inside the pub, adding to circulating rumours of Stanley's ghost haunting the premises. Although Stanley is the most famous ghost suspected of lingering on the premises, there is a long history of hauntings at the location. One set of paranormal experts recorded multiple voices with their ghost hunting equipment, Several amateur ghost hunters, as well as closed-circuit security footage, have also caught unsuspecting spirits lingering in doorways and around the property. In one instance, the owner of the property came in to open the pub and noticed that a single glass had been smashed on the floor. Suspicious, he went to check the security footage and found that the feed had inexplicably stopped at 6:18 a.m. The last thing visible on the video was a strange, ghostly figure appearing out of nowhere, which some believe to be Stanley himself. The owners of the pub have claimed that at least 25 restless spirits currently wander the property, among them a woman who is said to have hanged herself in the cellar several centuries ago, a small girl, and a phantom dog. Although many say the security footage was an easily pulled off hoax, there is no doubt that the long history of battles, murders, and illnesses that the pub has lived through could mean that several ghosts still linger on the property, haunting visitors. But what do you make of these most haunted places? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.